What is the human voice meant to express? What do we expect to hear and receive from a singer? And how can we challenge the assumptions of human vocality? During the 20th century, classical composers began to push the boundaries of vocal musicality, challenging traditional notions of not only vocal technique and virtuosity, but also of the purpose and limitlessness of the human voice in music. One eminent composer and vocalist, Agata Zubel, arose from the Polish nexus of aesthetic innovation to provide a fresh account of what the human voice can do. Hi, I'm Julia Bradison, and today we will be diving into Agata Zubel's Cascando. According to the New York Times' Janan Brownell-Mittig, Agata Zubel is one of Europe's most accomplished and internationally successful contemporary classical composers and vocalists. She is a decorated singer and award-winning composer, having received numerous prizes and awards abroad, and especially in her home country of Poland. Notably, Zubel is a proud champion of contemporary musical creativity. She has collaborated with many of the world's leading ensembles to premiere new music. In her own compositions, she is known for the use of techniques that challenge stereotypes. Among Polish musicians and composers, Zubel is not an anomaly. Since the mid-1900s, Poland has been a nexus of contemporary musical creativity. Amid the political and cultural divide of the Iron Curtain, Polish cultural officials desired to assert cultural parity with the West and fostered an environment open to modern compositional evolutions. According to Lisa Jaleski, Poland was a socialist country where people felt free to do things that were inadmissible in the Soviet Union. And despite limited mobility, composers enjoyed relatively uncontested patronage in the late 1950s. Warsaw's investment in contemporary music festivals engendered cultural exchanges between East and West, making Warsaw almost a suburb of Paris. This cultural incubator led to the rise of prominent composers such as Karol Szymanowski and Krzysztof Penderecki, and their heritage is evident in the work of Agata Zubel. One of the goals of modernist composition was to shift the qualitative experience of listening to music. Polish composer Witold Lutosławski described how serialism's treatment of intervals was meant to transcend the listener's assumptions of what intervals do, thereby blurring the normative, qualitative experience of the music. In the same vein, composers rejected what Marcel Coulter Pearson calls the vocal imaginary, standardized, quote-unquote, natural practices of the voice, in order to free the voice into its full capacity, that of being a vehicle for communicating humanity. Through breath, speech, nonverbal utterances like cries, moans, and screeches, modernist composers put forth the singer as an embodied bearer of human subjectivity. In this context, Agata Zubel's Cascando is an example of modernist vocal liberation. The piece is a chamber work for voice, flute, clarinet, violin, and cello, and it was commissioned by the Seattle Chamber Players in 2007. It has since become one of Zubel's most well-known pieces. The lyrics are a direct setting to music of Samuel Beckett's 1936 poem Cascando, a work which expresses an intense internal rumination and fixation on unrequited love. Zubel's unique treatment of the voice and its accompanying instruments allows her to deliver the core sentiment of the poem through a liberated human vocality. The use of the voice in Cascando is balanced deftly between musical and non-musical vocal expression. In the opening of the piece, Zubel hovers a melodic line around a sustained A sharp and B natural, decorated by brief melodic ornamentations. She employs a pure tone, ending lines with added breath, to evoke the sense of a heavy conversation with the self. melodic line continues with increasing 30-second note ornamentation, rising in pitch and emotional intensity, and begins to be accented by spoken utterances which stretch consonants beyond their normal duration. In the setting of part 2 of the poem, the vocal and instrumental lines are accented and broken up, evoking a sense of randomness or scatteredness. As the tempo picks up speed, the melodic line of the voice and instruments begins to leap to more extreme intervals, and the vocal line adds slides and spoken words. Lyrically, Zubel abandons sentences and moves toward incessant phrase and word repetitions. The vocal line develops into a more full-bodied vibrato with ever higher pitches and is supported by flurries of descending 30-second notes in the instruments. The climax of the piece occurs with the singer's dramatic vocal slide from a high B natural into a spoken declaration, "I and all the others that will love you." The final part of the piece is a primeval, otherworldly musical landscape made up by extended techniques on the instruments, where the voice takes a backseat. In the score, music is no longer bound by a 5-line staff, existing instead on a single line, much like a percussion score. The clarinet and the flute alternate between free multiphonics and blowing air with little to no tonal sound, while the violin and cello play with the bow behind the bridge on the tailpiece, dampened pizzicatos and harmonics. The singer's role here is to deliver the final line of the poem through half-whispered words, "unless they love you." Rather than creating a musical narrative, this section is a soundscape that feels as much unsettling as it does natural to the feeling of lost love. Overall, this piece is a remarkable expression of Polish musical development into the 21st century. It requires an unbelievable amount of technical mastery from each of its performers, calling for rhythmic precision, skill in extended techniques, and an ability to gel with the ensemble to produce a cohesive whole. The voice is liberated to express music through a wide range of vocalizations, but never abandons a sense of beauty. Thus, Zubel takes her place in the decorated lineage of Polish contemporary music, which, although is difficult to categorize as decidedly Polish, does reflect the Polish commitment to unbridled musical creativity and evolution. So, what is the human voice meant to express? What do we expect to hear and receive from a singer? And how can we challenge the assumptions of vocality to more freely express the human spirit? Agata Zubel's work may be a stepping stone to answering these questions.
Thank you for watching my video. Fight on!